You know what's funny? I got Yin Yang tattooed on me 4 times. 4 times. Apparently I needed that many reminders to stop being an all or nothing psycho in different parts of my life. Because for years, I was just living in extremes. It was either work hard or crash hard, no in between. I was either training every single day, twice a day, or binging on drugs, alcohol, bad food for weeks at a time. Meditate every day for a month, or just completely lose my mind and not meditate at all. And that's exactly what I want to talk about, what high performers can really use and learn from the yin yang. Because most of us are secretly destroying ourselves under the illusion of progress. So if you're that type of guy who looks successful on paper but feels empty, anxious, or just one burnout away from snapping, then this video is for you, so stay locked in. And if you want the step-by-step system I use with all my high-performing clients to help them rebuild from the inside out, grab your free copy of the alignment blueprint. The link's in the description, or comment a line on this video and I'll send it you through directly. Now let's talk about how balance isn't soft. It's actually power, because that's the lie of the high performer. One of many lies of the high performer, because most high performers are addicted to just one side of the equation, the yang side, and that's the aggression, control, being in control, and dominance. That mindset that says, oh, outwork everybody, that kind of energy that's just destroy and conquer, and we glorify it because it built our success in the first place. Those late nights, that non-stop hustle, the 4 a.m. gym sessions, the non-stop working through the night and then carrying on the next day, that relentless drive. That's how you became a top performer and a high earner in the first place. But here's the dark truth. The same thing that built you is now breaking you. Let me just say that again. Here's the dark truth. The same thing that built you is now that thing that's breaking you. And you don't rest, you don't switch off, you can't relax. When you do finally sit down, your brain starts screaming out that you're being lazy, and that's not discipline anymore, that's disorder. I used to think that resting was weakness. I started laughing at the idea of self-care and self-love and self-esteem. And now it's such a massive part of my life, because I was secretly drinking caffeine like it was oxygen. I couldn't function without it, and then wondering why my anxiety was through the roof every time something was happening and I was feeling overwhelmed, spinning all these plates. That's when I realized that's something that nobody tells you. High performance isn't intensity, it's about integration, and that's the essence of yin yang. Here's the real meaning of yin yang, because it can get caught up with the people just posting it, not really knowing exactly what it means and how you can use it in your life. Most people see the symbol and they think it means balance, they think it means peace, that it's some woo-woo, calm, zen, candles and soft meditation, spiritual bullshit. But no, it's not. The yin yang isn't about calm, it's about the wholeness of life, it's about the wholeness of you, it's about the wholeness of the human experience, because the yin represents the internal, stillness, reflection, recovery, and the yang represents the external, the action, the power, the movement, the momentum. And in life, you need both, because if you only live in yang, you'll burn out. And if you only live in the yin, then you'll fade out. And we don't want to burn out, or we don't want to fade out. We want to keep building momentum and consistently compounding the growth every single day. Because every high performer I've coached struggles with that dance. They think the answer is more work, more success, more control. But the truth is, you don't need more. You need alignment between both sides, the masculine and the still, the calm, the relaxation, a mix between the grind and the grace. And trust me, I didn't get that lesson on the first time or the second or probably the third, or maybe not even the third, hence why I got it tattooed on me 4 fucking times. But here's a bit of my story and how the yang part of my life nearly, literally and figuratively killed me. So let me just get absolutely real with you for a second, because I don't mind sharing my fuck ups in my life, because they're the stories that really resonate with people and help them see how they can improve in their life. Because there was a period in my life when I was completely lost. Addiction, crime, chaos. I lived in pure yang energy. It was survival mode. Everything was about force, hustle, control. I'd wake up angry, train angry, work angry, deal with people in an angry way, and then crash out at night feeling empty, alone and restless, and wondering why people didn't want to be around me at all. And I told myself it was strength, but it was self-destruction dressed as ambition. Let me just say that again. It was strength dressed up as ambition. And I remember one night I was lying there staring at the ceiling, my heart was racing, couldn't sleep, mind was spinning, and I realised I wasn't fighting the world anymore, I was just fighting against myself and making it so much harder for myself than it needed to be. I'd become the man who couldn't slow down, who couldn't feel joy, who couldn't connect with his inner self, the happy self. I'd built that perfect prison, quote unquote perfect, because it wasn't, and I was calling it success. That's when I decided to flip everything, not to become soft, but start to make my growth sustainable and my whole life sustainable. Started meditating, not the fluffy, soft, happy-go-lucky way, the confrontational way, sitting with myself until the chaos stopped running the show in my mind, and the part of my mind was just fucking destroying me from the inside out, and I started taking control of it. I started walking as well as training, and instead of just overtraining all the time, I started journaling instead of suppressing and escaping my thoughts. I started actually thinking before constantly reacting, and for the first time in my life I felt calmly powerful, not erratic, not reactive, but I was aligned, and I still am aligned. And that's what the yin yang really is: power under control, control under power. But here's 3 lessons that high performers can steal from the yin yang and start to incorporate into every area of their life. Number 1 is stillness is actually a weapon, because you can't lead yourself or anybody else when you're always reacting to things that's going on in life, the things that are around you, the people in your life. You can't think long term when you're constantly in fight or flight, because stillness isn't weakness. It's where strategy is born. When I sit in silence, I'm not doing nothing. I'm actually sharpening my next move. I'm sharpening the tool ready to chop that down, that next bit of wood, rather than constantly hammering away at it with a blunt knife. Because you can't see the next play if you're sprinting blind. Let me say that again. You can't see the next play if you're sprinting blind, because most men are just noise. How about be the quiet storm instead? When you train your ability to sit still, to think, to breathe, your power starts multiplying, the universe starts giving you the answers that you need, the right questions to ask, because when others panic and are overwhelmed, you stay grounded, powerful. That's alignment. Lesson number 2 high performers can learn from the yin yang: intensity without recovery equals implosion. Because every high performer has felt that burn. You push so hard, the thing you love starts to feel like pressure. Whether it's the gym, whether it's your business, whether it's your relationships, if you don't build recovery into your rhythm, you're going to start to break the whole system that's created all your success in the first place. And that's the last thing we want, because you, me, we've worked so hard to build success into our life and get us to this point. We don't want to ruin it, because here's how I explain it to my clients. Imagine driving your car 100 miles an hour every day, never checking the oil, never cleaning the engine, never changing the tires, because that's how you're living your life until one day your engine blows up on the side of the motorway and you say, oh, I don't know what happened, I just don't have any luck, do I? But in reality, you happened. You ignored the signs, you ignored the yin, the rebuild phase where you recover, you recharge, you sharpen, you charge your batteries, you sharpen your sword before you go into striking battle. Because recovery doesn't slow your growth, it amplifies it. Ask any fighter. You don't grow in the ring, you grow in the rest afterwards, when you're reflecting on what you did well in the ring, how the training went, when you're recovering from the tough circuit you did the day before. Number 3 is you can't shine without the shadow. Let me say that again. You can't shine without the shadow, because here's the part that people avoid. The yin yang isn't just about balance, it's about accepting your dark side. That little dot of darkness in the white, that's your shadow. The anger, the insecurity, the ego, and these are all things that can be channeled in a positive way, but if you completely ignore them or you just enrolled in it, it starts to take over. And that little white dot in the dark, that's your potential. That's the light buried underneath your chaos. Because you can't be powerful if you're scared of your own darkness. I had to learn that the hard way, over and over again. I spent years just trying to be the good guy, the nice guy, the people pleaser, and then tried doing the opposite, suppressing all my rage and my aggression, and then it would just explode in fights, addictions, self-sabotage, burnout. But now I channel it. I box, I write, I make music, I coach, I turn darkness into direction. And that's what can make you unfuckwithable, and that's what makes me unfuckwithable. Not the perfect mindset, not the perfect routine, but the ability to own all of you, the light and the dark. Here's the 3M framework through the lens of the yin yang. So let's link it all back to alignment, because that's the foundation of every single thing that I teach, whether it's a public speaking gig, whether it's the books that I write, whether it's the coaching I do with people. And the first M is mindset, the yin. That's what your inner world controls your outer world. Without the stillness, the structure, the awareness, you're just a slave to your own emotions. So it's time to start journaling, start catching your patterns in live time, start to build that internal peace that lets you think clearly under pressure. And the second M is the movement, which we can relate to as the yang, because your body is the message to yourself. How you move, how you train, how you walk into a room, what's your posture like, can you make eye contact with people, how do you feel in yourself? That's your energy signature. So you've got to train like you mean it. but don't just kill yourself every time. Train with intelligence, because a strong body creates a strong presence, and a strong presence can take over any room that you walk into, because you don't need to scream for respect when you radiate it and you attract it. The third M is the money, and that's the integration of it all, because here's where both energies collide, because money is energy and it needs control, which is the yin, and it needs aggression, which is the yang. Because most men are like chaotic with their finances. They're either hoarding and scared to spend and holding on to every last penny, or spending like it's going out of fashion just to feel something. And both sides of that come from misalignment. So you've got to set systems, automate your savings, invest like a man who plans to lead his bloodline. I invest dollar cost averaging every week into crypto and stocks. Every week it goes out, whether I want to or not, whether the markets are high or low. That's the financial yin yang, control and creation. When you align all three, your life stops feeling like chaos and it starts feeling like creation. It starts feeling magical. And here's a bit of a funny but a real reflection, because some of the fuck ups I've done in my life, when I look back, I just have to make a funny story out of it, otherwise I think I'd cry. So yeah, I've got yin yang tattooed on me 4 times. One on my hand, one on the back of my neck, one on my knee, and the other place, I'll leave that to your imagination. But people ask me in the first place, why have you got it tattooed on you 4 times? 4 times. I say to them, because apparently I need constant reminders not to be an unbalanced, over the top, unaligned psychopath. But truthfully, it's because this philosophy saved me. Not in a spiritual woo-woo sense, but in a survival sense. Because if I didn't learn to balance my aggression with awareness, I'll either be dead or in prison, or still trapped in my own chaos. But now life works for me. I'm my own best friend instead of my own worst enemy. And I cannot tell you how much easier life is for me now. And now I'm leading other men out of it, and it's just a beautiful life. And that's why I take it personally when I see powerful men losing themselves to their own extremes and not being able to face the dark side. Because we've all got a light and a dark side. You've got to learn to channel both, because you're not supposed to feel constantly burnt out, stressed, empty, anxious, overwhelmed. You're supposed to feel powerful, grounded, and dangerous in a calm and amazing way. That's exactly what alignment feels like. That's the yin and the yang in motion. That's what becoming unfckwithable really means. Well, here's the absolute wake-up call that you need. You've got this far into the video, so you clearly want to make a bit of a difference. So here's your challenge. Stop living like a one-dimensional man, because you know you're built for more. Else you wouldn't have clicked on this video in the first place. The algorithm blessed you with this video. You're not just your body, you're not just your money or your job title, you're not just some happy-go-lucky mindset. You're a fusion of all of it. And if you keep over-leaning into control or success and speed, then you're going to crash. And it's going to be horrific. But if you can build stillness, structure, and self-awareness into your current life, you'll soar and just go from strength to strength. The goal isn't to be a monk or a machine, it's to be both. A monk with a mission and a warrior with a calm mind. So take a breath and just ask yourself, where in my life am I out of alignment? Because when you take that second to really think about it, you already know what you've been putting off, or what you keep doing that you shouldn't be doing. Is it your body? Is it your mindset? Is it your money? So you got to find it, face it, and then fix it. And if you want a clear step-by-step guide to realign those 3 areas and become unfckwithable, then download the alignment blueprint in the description, or comment align on this video and I'll send it direct through to you. Because balance isn't boring, it's your edge and it's your power and it's your next evolution. And I promise you it'll bring a whole new dimension to your life that you couldn't even imagine. So this is Lewis Murray. I'm checking out of this video, and remember, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be aligned. It's all about alignment, because when you're aligned, you're unstoppable, you're untouchable, and you're unfckwithable. So download the alignment blueprint and I'll catch you in the